The holidays, a time of joy, laughter, and family gatherings. Children giggle as they line up to whisper their Christmas wishes to the ever-smiling Santa Claus. But sometimes, the brightest smiles hide the darkest secrets. In the heart of Toronto, the LGBTQ+ community faced an invisible predator. Disappearances were becoming more frequent, yet the connections between them seemed tenuous at best. A hairstylist, a refugee, a local entrepreneur. Each vanished without a trace, leaving their loved ones drowning in fear and unanswered questions. A community grieved, the air thick with whispers of suspicion and despair. How could so many lives simply vanish? While families pleaded for answers, an unsettling thought crept into the minds of investigators. This wasn't a coincidence. The police scoured for clues, but what they uncovered only deepened the mystery. A pattern was emerging. Targeted victims, eerily similar disappearances, and one chilling question. Who was behind it all? The hunt for the truth began. Investigators combed through digital trails, scoured surveillance footage, and questioned anyone who might hold a piece of the puzzle. But every answer led to another question. Every lead seemed to hit a dead end. What they didn't know, what no one could have imagined, was that the man they sought wasn't lurking in the shadows. He was right there, in plain sight, playing a role so innocent, so familiar, that no one thought to question it. This wasn't just the work of a criminal. It was the calculated, cold-blooded scheme of a master deceiver. As the truth began to unravel, it revealed a monster living behind a mask of holiday cheer. A man whose crimes would shock a nation and forever haunt the city of Toronto. What led a seemingly kind and gentle man to commit such unspeakable acts? And how did he evade justice for so long? The answers lie in the chilling story of Bruce McArthur, a tale of trust betrayed and lives stolen in the shadows of the season of giving. Toronto's LGBTQ+ community is a vibrant, colorful tapestry of resilience and diversity. Nestled in the heart of the city, the Church Wellesley Village pulses with life. It's a place where people come together to celebrate their identities, find acceptance, and create a chosen family. Rainbow flags wave from storefronts, laughter spills out of cafes, and the annual Pride Parade transforms the streets into a kaleidoscope of joy. But beneath this vibrant surface lies a deep vulnerability. For decades, members of the LGBTQ+ community have faced discrimination, marginalization, and violence. Many sought refuge in the village, hoping to escape the judgment they endured elsewhere. For some, it was a sanctuary. For others, it was a last lifeline. In the early 2010s, whispers of unease began circulating through the community. Men were going missing. At first, the disappearances seemed isolated, unconnected tragedies in a city bustling with millions. But as weeks turned into months, a pattern began to emerge. The missing men shared striking similarities. They were middle-aged or older. Many were immigrants, and all of them had ties to the village. One of the first to vanish was Skandaraj Navaratnam, a gentle soul known for his warm smile and love of dancing. Friends described him as a beacon of light, someone who lit up every room he entered. In September 2010, Skandaraj left a party and was never seen again. His sudden disappearance left his friends and family devastated and confused. Then came Abdulbasir Faizi, a devoted father and husband who had been living a double life, frequenting the village to connect with a side of himself he kept hidden. In December 2010, he failed to return home after work. His car was found abandoned weeks later, but Abdulbasir was nowhere to be found. More men followed. Majid Kayhan, Selim Isan, and others. Each disappearance sent ripples of fear through the community. The streets of the village, once a haven, began to feel unsafe. Friends started checking in on each other more often, and conversations were tinged with anxiety. Who was taking these men? Why? And how had they simply vanished without a trace? Activists and community leaders grew increasingly alarmed, urging law enforcement to take action. For years, their pleas seemed to fall on deaf ears. Investigators treated the cases as unrelated, citing a lack of evidence to connect them. Some even suggested that the missing men had left voluntarily, a claim that enraged their loved ones. But the community refused to be silent. They organized rallies, shared missing persons posters, and pushed for answers. For them, these weren't just statistics or names on a list. They were fathers, brothers, lovers, and friends. They were people who deserved justice. The village's once celebratory spirit dimmed as the disappearances continued. Fear and frustration grew. Someone was preying on their community, and it seemed no one was listening. What they didn't know was that the predator wasn't an outsider lurking in the shadows. He was someone they would least suspect, hiding in plain sight, waiting for his next move. The disappearances in Toronto's LGBTQ+ community didn't go unnoticed, but for years, law enforcement seemed unable or unwilling to connect the dots. Families and friends of the missing men felt their concerns dismissed, their pleas for action lost in the bureaucracy of an overburdened police system. To many, it felt like the marginalized nature of the victims made their cases less urgent. As the years passed and the list of missing men grew, frustration boiled over. Community activists, including those from organizations like the 519 and Black Coalition for AIDS Prevention, amplified their calls for justice. They demanded that the police take the disappearances seriously, insisting that something far more sinister was at play than isolated incidents. The community's cries began to resonate, prompting law enforcement to launch Project Houston in 2012. Project Houston was an investigative task force created to look into the disappearances of three men, Skandaraj Navaratnam, Abdulbasir Faizi, and Majid Kayhan. Investigators initially pursued a theory that the men might have fallen victim to a cannibalistic killer. This bizarre lead stemmed from an online tip connecting the men to a disturbing website frequented by someone with dark fantasies. But after months of investigation, the theory unraveled. The task force disbanded in 2014, leaving the community with no answers and growing despair. As years went by, the disappearances continued. Between 2015 and 2017, more men went missing from the village, including Selim Eason and Andrew Kinsman. This time, their vanishing sent shockwaves through the LGBTQ+ community. Andrew, in particular, was a well-known and deeply loved member of the village. His friends quickly noticed his absence and reported him missing. The mounting pressure forced police to form a second task force, Project Prism. Project Prism marked a turning point. This time, investigators approached the case with renewed vigor and advanced tools. They scoured phone records, pored over surveillance footage, and mapped the social circles of the missing men. Their efforts began to reveal a chilling commonality: Bruce McArthur. At first glance, McArthur appeared to be an unlikely suspect. A jovial, silver-haired landscaper, he had charmed his way into the hearts of many. Known for his role as a mall Santa during the holidays, he seemed to embody the spirit of cheer and kindness. But beneath his genial exterior lurked a man with a dark and calculating mind. Investigators discovered that McArthur had connections to several of the missing men, including Andrew Kinsman. Andrew's friends had provided police with a crucial piece of evidence: a calendar entry on Andrew's phone from the day he disappeared. It read simply, "Bruce." This seemingly innocuous detail became the thread that unraveled McArthur's carefully constructed facade. Police began surveilling him, tracking his movements, and digging into his past. What they found sent chills down their spines. McArthur had a history of violent outbursts, including a 2001 assault charge. He had also been banned from the village's bars after an altercation. But nothing in his public record hinted at the horrifying truth they were about to uncover. As investigators delved deeper, they pieced together McArthur's methodical approach. He targeted vulnerable men, often those on the margins of society: immigrants, individuals struggling with isolation or those with little family support. He gained their trust with his affable demeanor, luring them into his world. Once in his grasp, they became victims of his sadistic and calculated violence. By late 2017, the evidence against McArthur was mounting, but police needed definitive proof to act. Surveillance teams monitored his every move, waiting for the moment they could intervene without jeopardizing their case. Then, in January 2018, they witnessed something they couldn't ignore: McArthur bringing another man into his apartment. Fearing for the man's life, police stormed in and made the arrest. The scene they uncovered in McArthur's home confirmed their worst fears. It was the beginning of the end for Bruce McArthur's reign of terror. But the true scope of his crimes was only just coming to light. When police entered Bruce McArthur's apartment on that cold January day in 2018, they knew they were intervening in what could be a life-or-death situation. Inside, they found a man restrained, but miraculously still alive. This horrifying discovery solidified their worst fears. McArthur wasn't just a suspect, he was an active predator. The arrest opened the floodgates for one of the most chilling investigations in Canadian history. As detectives scoured McArthur's apartment, they uncovered evidence that painted a picture of premeditation and brutality. In a digital folder on his computer, they found meticulously organized files containing photos of his victims, including images taken after their deaths. Each file was named and stored with haunting precision, suggesting McArthur's crimes were far from impulsive. But the most horrifying revelations came when police began to search McArthur's workspace. As a landscaper, he had access to multiple properties across Toronto. Police zeroed in on a specific location, a home where McArthur stored his tools and equipment. In the backyard, beneath layers of soil and planters, they unearthed human remains. One by one, the identities of the missing men began to surface, confirming what their families and friends had feared for years. McArthur's methodical approach to his crimes stunned investigators. He lured his victims, often marginalized men, into a false sense of security, using his seemingly gentle and friendly demeanor as a weapon. Once he gained their trust, he carried out his atrocities in secret, ensuring there were no witnesses and leaving minimal evidence behind. His ability to blend into society while committing such heinous acts was a chilling testament to his cunning. As the full extent of McArthur's crimes came to light, Toronto's LGBTQ+ community grappled with a mix of relief and devastation. The relief stemmed from knowing the predator who had haunted them for nearly a decade was finally behind bars. But the devastation was profound. The lives lost, the trust shattered, and the lingering question of how someone like McArthur had been able to operate undetected for so long. McArthur ultimately confessed to the murders of 8 men, though many believe the true number of his victims may never be known. In January 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. The sentence brought a measure of closure, but it couldn't erase the pain inflicted on the victims' families and the community at large. This case left a permanent mark on Toronto's history and sparked a reckoning within the city's institutions. Law enforcement faced intense scrutiny for their handling of the early investigations, leading to calls for reform and greater accountability in how cases involving marginalized communities are addressed. Bruce McArthur's story is a chilling reminder that evil often hides in plain sight. Behind his Santa suit and warm smile was a predator who exploited trust to commit unimaginable horrors. His capture ended a reign of terror, but the scars of his actions will remain etched in the hearts of those he hurt forever. Bruce McArthur's arrest and conviction marked the end of a nearly decade-long nightmare for Toronto's LGBTQ+ community. As the details of his crimes came to light, they left behind a haunting legacy, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most familiar faces. For the families and friends of the 8 men McArthur admitted to killing, the trial brought mixed emotions. There was relief that justice had been served, but also an unshakable sorrow for the lives that could never be restored. The haunting memories of their loved ones and the knowledge of the horrors they endured remained a constant weight. These were men with dreams, families, and futures stolen in an instant. The case also brought attention to systemic failings. For years, members of the LGBTQ+ community had sounded the alarm about the disappearances, but their voices often went unheard. Advocacy groups and activists used the spotlight on McArthur's crimes to push for change, demanding more accountability from law enforcement and a greater focus on protecting marginalized communities. Toronto's police force faced significant scrutiny, leading to reviews of their handling of missing persons cases and commitments to rebuilding trust with the communities they serve. These changes, while essential, were bittersweet, a recognition of what could have been done sooner to prevent such a tragedy. McArthur's story also sparked a broader conversation about the nature of trust. He wasn't a shadowy figure lurking in the dark. He was a neighbor, a friend, even a symbol of holiday cheer. His double life as a jovial mall Santa and a calculating killer forced many to confront an unsettling truth. Predators don't always fit the stereotypes we expect. Today, the village continues to rebuild. Its resilience, a testament to the strength of Toronto's LGBTQ+ community. Memorials and vigils honor the victims, ensuring their stories aren't forgotten. While their lives were taken, their memories remain a source of unity and a call to action, a reminder to protect the vulnerable and stand against injustice. As we reflect on this case, one question lingers. How many other predators might be hiding in plain sight, taking advantage of the trust we so freely offer? Bruce McArthur's crimes serve as a chilling reminder to remain vigilant, even in the safest of spaces. Evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it wears a smile, and sometimes it wears a Santa suit. Thanks for watching till the end. If you found this video intriguing, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And let's continue to uncover the truth behind the world's most chilling crimes together. Stay safe, stay curious, and remember, the darkest secrets often hide in plain sight. Until next time, thank you for being a part of Deadly Secrets.